Hello, this is my video for the mid-August lunch movie answers. Alright, so the first question. 3 scenes that you found interesting and why? Alright, the first scene I found interesting is where Alfonso, who's Gianni's building manager, first brings his mom over, but also brings his aunt over and doesn't tell Gianni. The reason I find this, I don't know why, but I find this scene very funny because of Gianni's look when he first sees Marina, Alfonso's mom, walk in. He's like, okay, this is normal. And then he sees Aunt Marie and he's like, what's going on here? And then later on in the movie when they're like dusting the bed, or I think they're like beating out the bed, like dusting it. And they're like, I can't take care of this extra woman. You never told me your aunt was also coming. That wasn't part of the original deal. And he's like, here, take some extra money for food. And just leaves his aunt there too. Alright, the second scene where I found at least intriguing and interesting was the one where they're looking for the fish. Like, Gianni and his friend Vitachingo, I think that's how you say it, are like riding the motorcycle together and they're looking for fish for like the holiday lunch. And you just get to see all like the beautiful streets and sights of Italy. And I think it's just a good scene that shows off like the ambiance and the architectural history of Italy and how like beautiful it looks. The last scene that I found interesting was the final holiday lunch where all the old ladies gathering around, sharing stories, having a bunch of toasts, all having a good time. Because even though earlier in the movie they had their fights about the TV and about the food and about taking their pills and about talking to each other and even eating lunch and dinner with each other, at the end they're all having fun. They're all like talking to each other and they're all hoping the day doesn't end. And then even as Gianni's trying to kick the doctor's mother, who I believe name is Garzia, I think that's how you say it. Garzia, like, out, she like gives him money, and he's like, "Okay, I'll keep the doctor off. We'll have vegetables for dinner, so everybody can stay for dinner." I just find that was a good way to end the movie after all the wacky adventures. Second question. The character that intrigued me the most was definitely Gianni. And I think it's because, in a weird way, I can sort of relate to him. I mean, he's a middle-aged Italian man. I'm a young American college student. Can't relate too much, but I can relate to his sense of trying to please and take care of everybody. And especially, like, be responsible for everybody. Because I feel that way sometimes with my brother and with my friends. I feel like sometimes they could be a little out of control. And they think they know what's best for them. But sometimes in those situations, I'm older. And I don't want to say smarter, but wiser, maybe wiser, and I have a better idea of how to handle situations. And so I feel like Gianni even trying to convince the building manager's mother, which I don't think she has a name, I think she's just called the mother of Alfonso, like she like leaves the house late at night, goes out to dinner by herself, having like smokes and drinks, and he's like, "It's late, you gotta get to bed, you worried me, I'm responsible for your well-being." And she's like, "No, I'm fine, I can handle myself, why don't you sit down and drink?" And even when she gets back, she's like, "I don't want to go to bed, let's play some cards." Like, I just relate to having that sense of responsibility over others, I guess. Alright, the third question. The difference between the Italian characters shown in the movie and my own extended family. I think the first the biggest difference I noticed throughout the movie, and with my family at least being mostly Italian, is that we don't nearly smoke and drink as much as they do. It seems like in almost every other scene, Gianni's got a cigarette or he's got a glass of wine that he's drinking. Especially during the cooking scenes, he's always like drinking the wine, dinner, drinking the wine. Casual midday, he's having a cigarette. So, I mean, I know my family does like to drink and smoke, but that's usually on, like, special occasions or, like, big family meetups. They don't do that, like, every day just because. The second difference I saw between at least my family and the Italian family shown in the movie is how willing they are to like give up money just to get what they want. At least like give extreme amounts of money. For like example, when Alfonso, the building manager, also brought his aunt over, he's just like, here's some more money for food. Just take care of her. I don't really care. Just some people would just try to like, at least in my family would try to just like add the Aunt Maria, but not give him the extra cash and just be like, oh, you got to take care of her too. I'm already paying off your building debt. And like, especially at the end in the last dinner when Garcia, sorry, that's the doctor's mother. She like pays him more money to get another thing of food. I guess that might just be a culture difference there. 'Cause sometimes, like when you're expected to go to another person's house, at least in my family, you're not paying them to make the meal. You're kind of just there, and they make what they make, and you eat it. Especially like the quality of food, they had like high quality, thoroughly cooked meal. Like sometimes my family in the middle of the day will just order like whatever, like we'll order fast food or something like that. And these, at least Gianni cooked almost every single day. And then the last big difference is like the treatment of the mothers during the holiday. I know in the PowerPoint slides you said like the holiday is a big vacation, everybody's not supposed to be working. But even when like there's a big vacation and not supposed to be working, I feel like my family, at least like my dad, wouldn't just leave my mom with a random stranger to go for the holiday. Like I just don't think that would happen. I think he would just take her along or take care of her or postpone the holiday or like work around it and not just like leave his mother with somebody else. Especially somebody that he kind like the building manager kind of knows Gianni, but like I don't know if they're like friends, like good friends, or like know each other well enough for him to just be like, okay, here's my mother for 2-3 days while I go on holiday. And then, okay, last question. Reflection on how this movie affected you. I think biggest like insight and like the biggest takeaway I've had from watching the movie is it kind of gave me a little bit of a deeper understanding of like my grandparents, especially like my grandmas, and like the Italian culture they have as a whole. Because out of my 4 grandparents, 3 of them are almost 100% Italian like descent, and they all like are super like like they're stingy. They kind of want what they want, like especially when like I compare it to like when Gianni's mother like wanted her TV back. She's like, "Oh, I have a routine. I gotta have my TV back." Or even like when the building manager's mother, like Madre di Alfonso, she's like, "Oh, I want to play cards. Let's do this," instead of like kind of like being aware of like the situation and everybody involved and what's best. They're kind of just like they want to do what they want to do, and I get that from a certain point. Like you're old, you don't want to just be tied down by like pills, especially the doctor's mother who was eating like the cheeses she wasn't supposed to eat and like had the macaroni casserole she wasn't supposed to have. Like she was just supposed to have vegetables, but they were like she's like, I guess I can eat this even though it's not good for her. So I guess I could see it a little bit more from my grandparents' perspective of like, yeah, it's probably pretty annoying. Like you believe you can make your own decisions and do what's best for you always, and you don't really want other people doing that for you. And I think another thing the movie like showed me is like, I don't know if it's just like in the movie, but there's like also a big thing with like smoking and drinking in that country that maybe is just played up for the movie or maybe just played up for like stereotypes, but at least I think was very prevalent. Anyway, that's my Midsummer Lunch short video review. Hope you enjoyed and hopefully it answered all your questions.